Mr. K. Harikumar, for the welcome address.
President of KMA, Sri Bibu Punuran, Secretary Dr. Anil Joseph, Past President Mr. A. Balakrishnan, Chief Guest Vice Admiral Sreekumar Nair, Guest of Honor Sri Venugopal C. Govind, Past Presidents, Managing Committee members, distinguished guests, and KMA members. I am really proud to be standing before you today to welcome you all to this inaugural event, which is to kickstart the activities of the 67th year of activities of KMA. Lot of activities has been lined up. As the KMA website says, much before Cochin became a bustling city, when Cochin, the present Cochin was managed by three corporations, three municipalities, that is Ernakulam, Mattancheri and Fort Cochin. Some visionaries, I'm talking about visionaries of those years, they decided to form a group to discuss and debate on issues which are of then contemporary relevance, basically related to management. That was the origin of KMA. After that, the doyen of management in Kerala, Mr. M.K. Nair, he took over the presidency of KMA and he remained as president of KMA for more than 10 years, and that is how KMA got built. From that time onwards, KMA has emerged as a mammoth organization having more than 1,700 members, became one of the founding members of All India Management Association, and is the winner of many local management associations award from the All India Management Association. The motto of KMA is to spearhead the management activities and so that the activities remain in tandem with the changing times. You all know about the change, you all know about the pace of change, and you all know how necessary it is to remain in tune with the times. KMA basically aims to do that, and to do that, KMA has organized an array of programs. I will just mention a few of them. KMA organizes leader talks, KMA organizes panel discussions, Inspire series, Digital Summit, CEO Conclave, Innovation Experience Store, Corporate Cricket League, Young Managers Contest, MSME Summit, Corporate Management Festival, Memorial Lectures, Management Week, CSR and ESG Summit, so on and so forth. And the flagship event remains to be the annual management convention, which is really the icing on the cake. I encourage each of you to take part and use this opportunity to the maximum, connect, collaborate, so that the ideas get discussed at many forums, and you can take the benefit of networking, you can take the benefit of meeting everybody, because issues are not limited only to one sector. You will be able to discuss across the specialists in very many sectors, and that is how your organization can benefit. That is how management as a concept can develop, and that is how collectively we can grow. I'm not taking much of your time. I would now get on to my job of welcoming the dignitaries. And I'm not getting into detail basically because there are members who have been assigned the task of special introduction of the dignitaries. I will just mention one or two names. I will just mention a sentence or two basically so that I can welcome them. I take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Vice Admiral Mr. Sreekumar Nair, because as you know, He is an Adhivishish Seva Medal winner, and he has spearheaded many of the technological innovations of the Navy. As you know, wars are not fought by men, wars are fought by technology now, and he is one person who has spearheaded the technological revolution in Indian Navy. So, I would request...
We invite past President Jayathilakan to kindly come forward and present a bouquet to our chief guest.
As you all know, he has taken over recently as the managing director of Keltron. And Keltron, the history of Keltron is a saga of innovation in electronics. I'm sure that he will be able to transform Keltron also and enable Keltron to achieve the past glory. All the best to you. I don't think Mr. Venugopal C. Govind, today's guest of honor, needs any introduction to this august audience. I'm not venturing into that because he is known to everybody. And a past president of KMA, leadership award winner, and many, many achievements he has taken. And I would take this opportunity to...
We invite past President Jose Philip to kindly present a bouquet to our guest of honor.
I also take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Bibu Punuran, who is the president of KMA, Mr. Anil Joseph, who is the secretary of KMA, and of course Mr. A. Balakrishnan, who is the IPP immediate past president of KMA. And I'm not getting into welcoming any of others by name because the list is too long and dignitaries are too many. I take this opportunity in welcoming each one of you. Kindly consider it as an individual welcome, and I take this opportunity in welcoming all, and I'm sure together we can achieve great things and make this year of KMA a very, very memorable year. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harikumar, for the very warm welcome. I now invite Vice President, Mr. Aljis Khalid, to introduce our President.
Dignitaries on and off the days, good evening to everyone. There was a discussion among the newly elected office bearers of Kerala Management Association whether we should introduce or deviate from the tradition for formally introduce the 67th President of KMA to its members. After some deliberation, they arrived at a consensus. Although our new president, who received a record 600 votes in the KMA's history, needs no introduction, many members present here may not know the finer details of this soft-spoken, mild-mannered, multi-talented, non-controversial, and a gentleman who prefers to stay away from limelight, especially the social media. So they decided to proudly introduce him formally to you all. And since I worked closely with him and his family for several years on different platforms, I have the honor of doing so. Mr. Bibu Punuran hails from a renowned aristocratic agriculture business family from Alleppey. His grandfather, Joseph Punuran, was also a freedom fighter and actively involved in the political movement with the Congress Party. Bibu grew up as the eldest of the three siblings to his parents, engineer Babu J. Punuran and Salina Ma, in an agricultural and business family and ecosystem. After his schooling, predominantly at the Rec School in Ooty, he moved abroad and completed his O-level in University of London. He graduated in Commerce from Calicut University and then completed his MBA with distinction from Shivaji University. Business was in his blood, so he opted out of campus interviews and instead joined the family-owned pharmaceutical manufacturing company. Being multi-talented, he simultaneously teamed up with few friends to start Medivision in 1993, Kerala's first CT scan center in private sector. It was not all smooth sailing. They faced significant challenges in the initial stages. However, Bibu decided to take on these challenges head-on, amicably taking over the struggling business from his 6 partners in 1998, along with his brother-in-law, Burley Syriac. This was a turning point for growth, and they both never looked back so far. Today, Medivision is one of the largest and reputed private diagnostic provider with a chain of 77 centers and several hundred of collection points across Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka. Medivision is also the largest employer in the private diagnostic space in Kerala. President Bibu Punaran is also very active in several socio-cultural and economic forums in the state and holds distinguished positions. He is an executive committee member of the prestigious 162-year-old Cochin Chamber of Commerce and Industry. In Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, FICCI, he is Kerala State Council member and chairs the Healthcare Committee. He is also a charter member of TIE Kerala. Bibu has always been very active in different forums, and he was invited to as a state council member and has also chaired the healthcare panel in Confederation of Indian Industry, CII. On the social and cultural front, he has been a member of one of the oldest Rotary clubs in Cochin for over 3 decades and is a past president of Rotary Club of Cochin West. He has held several Rotary district level assignments and is recognized as a benefactor and major donor by the Rotary International Foundation. In KMA, he has been active member for over 2 decades and was first elected to the managing committee in 2018. Since then, he has sincerely and diligently held several positions, including Honorary Secretary in 2019, Honorary Treasurer in 2020-21, Vice President and Program Committee Chair in 2022, and last year as Senior Vice President and KMA Annual Convention Chair, where he successfully organized the first ever international edition of the convention, held over 2 full days with a record number of registrations and the highest ever sponsorship. He has also been very benevolent, contributing generously to the cause of the spearheading management movement by financially contributing for the renovation of Management House and various programs of KMA over several years. He is a music enthusiast, and some of us have enjoyed his musical talents. Coming from a family of ace state-level basketball players, he, like his father, is passionate about supporting young sports talents. Bibu's life partner, Sevi Punuran, is also his business partner. She is an entrepreneur in her own right and manages business in human resources recruitment, training and management, medical tourism and global educational services. She is also director of Medivision, and together the couple also manages the Punuran family plantations. The couple is blessed with a daughter and 2 sons. The eldest 2 are doctors, Dr. Reshmi and Dr. Jacob, and the youngest, Abhishek, is a product designer. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 67th President of Kerala Management Association, Mr. Bibu Punuran, Director of Medivision, Diagnostic Services you can trust. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Algiers, for the very lovely introduction of our President. And now I request President Mr. Bibu Punuran to deliver the presidential address.
Thank you, dear Vice President Algiers. It's nice always hearing nice things about you. But that mild demeanor that you just told me about, Saibi is sitting somewhere here in the back, so I think I'll have to be careful about that. Respected Chief Guest of the Day, Vice Admiral Sreekumar Nair, our guest of honor, most respected Venugopal C. Govind Sir, immediate past President Mr. A. Balakrishnan, our beloved ABK, Honorary Secretary Dr. Anil Joseph, respected past presidents of KMA, managing committee members, and my dear KMA family, and all our guests gathered here. I deem it an honor and privilege to take over as president of the prestigious Kerala Management Association and stand before you this evening with a heart full of gratitude for having elected me to this post of our 66-year-old association. Which is one among the best LMAs in the country. With a galaxy of illustrious past presidents who have adorned the chair, I do not know whether I could in any way match their capabilities or strengths. Nevertheless, dear past presidents, I shall, in my own humble way, try to elevate our KMA to level next in whatever capabilities the Almighty has bestowed upon me. When the foundation of any building or organization is strong, it is easy for anyone to build upon it. Hence, I feel that because of the great work done by my predecessors, I may be able to scale KMA at least one notch higher with the help of the distinguished team of managing committee members. I always believe in teamwork, and with the wealth of experience and knowledge of each of our managing committee members, collectively, we will see that the KMA flag keeps flying high. This year, we have been able to have a relatively large lady representation in our managing committee with 6 distinguished ladies, the highest ever, who have made a mark for themselves in the world of business and corporate management. We wish that they eventually take senior positions in the managing committee. As the year rolls on, we plan to have joint meetings with other LMAs in the state and all the other major trade bodies. We also plan to continue all the programs that we had last year during their term. However, in addition to all those great programs, we are planning to have other programs in line with the theme coined for the year, and the theme is Youth at Level Next, Empowering Young Managers. We all know that our country is making great strides in the international arena, and we are no longer treated as another third world country. This is primarily because we have one of the youngest populations in the world with an average age of 27 or below. Therefore, our primary focus is and will be in empowering our youth to take on managerial roles for effective leadership. I'm happy that a plethora of programs have already been planned in this direction, and we would call this the KMA Young Minds Initiative. You've just heard the music rendered by Jacob and the sweet voice of Arati Varma during the invocation. Thank you, dear Arati and Jacob. Architect Arati Varma is the director of Varma Homes and a second-generation entrepreneur who has volunteered to be the program lead for the KMA Young Minds Initiative. She has already started identifying a team to take this initiative forward. And you can see for yourselves that some of them are with us in this meeting, in this hall. In fact, the chief guest was asking me as to he's not seeing too many young people. I said next year they will be there. For the attention of all our members, every Friday of the month will be a KMA day with a program. That's how we have planned it. But the last Friday will be dedicated for a specially curated program called Inspire Series, which will focus on youth and their empowerment. We have planned 55 programs for the year, including our flagship events like the Annual Management Convention and many more. The entire year has been planned in advance, and I would request the MC to kindly display the program on the screen. It's already there. The specific programs for June and July are also displayed separately, please. Can you please do that? That would be the programs for June. July. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the snapshot of the events we are planning for the entire year. And before I end, I would like to thank our immediate past president, my good friend Mr. Balakrishnan, and our honorary secretary Mr. Dilip Narayanan for leading us from the front and giving us a wonderful KMA year. On behalf of all the members, I request you both, dear ABK and Dilip, to come forward and accept a token of our appreciation. I would also request Anil Joseph to kindly come forward. Dr. Anil Joseph, one of the best structural engineers in the country, had volunteered to be the secretary this year. My relationship with Anil had started long before both of us were even born, I should say. His dad, engineer Ando Cletus, and my dad, engineer Babu Punuran, were good friends and batchmates at the TKM College of Engineering way back in the early 1960s. Unfortunately, both of them are not with us today in this world to bless us. However, another of their classmates and best friend, engineer Jose George, is here today with us to grace the occasion. It is also heartening to let you all know that Mr. Jose George's son, George Jose, is also a good friend of ours and a KMA member. Jose uncle, thank you so much for having come here to be a part of this function, and kindly accept this bouquet as a token of our love. Anil, please. Thank you. Once again, I reiterate the fact that I am but an ordinary human being with no extraordinary powers. But with our collective efforts and the wise counsel of all which I humbly seek, KMA will continue to stand tall and proud. May I end with this saying, individually I am just a drop, but together we are an ocean. Let's work together to add more luster to KMA's shining crown. Thank you. Jai Hind.
For your debut presidential address, and it's very clear that you have a well-structured, well-thought-out plan of action, already presented the calendar for the first 2 years and the big picture for the year ahead. So thank you very much once again. We now come to a very auspicious occasion of lighting the lamp to formally inaugurate the first event for the year. May I invite all the dignitaries on the dais and the EC members to kindly come forward to light the lamp of knowledge.
Mr. Bibu Punuran, K. Harikumar, Algiers Khalid, Dr. Anil Joseph, K. Anil Varma, Dilip Narayanan,
other dignitaries and guests. It gives me very honor to introduce a eminent personality, Vice Admiral Mr. Sreekumar Nair. He is currently the Managing Director of Keltron, and he graduated in Electronics and Communication from REC Tiruchirappalli, and he holds a master's degree in Communication from IIT Delhi. He has served in the Indian Navy a long 36 years in many positions and many capacities, all leading to electronics and communication and radars, and the list it goes like this, you know. So I don't want to elaborate on that. And he has touched up every aspect of communication in Navy, and spearheaded the Indo-Russian military technical communication as its member secretary from the Indian Navy in the field of electrical electronics, with special emphasis on weapons, sensors like radars, etc. Coordinated the Indo-Israel working group activities from the Indian Navy in the field of special radars and missiles. No, the list goes, I am just cutting it short because you know that what happens. And testing and commissioning and everything. And he has got a lot of awards, like awarded Distinguished Alumni by NIT Tiruchirappalli, commendation by the Chief of Naval Staff in 2003, Navosena Medal by the President of India in 2010. I think I'm right, Navosena. And Adi Visishta Medal by President of India in 2021. It's a great honor to introduce such an eminent personality to you. Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Joint Secretary Anil, for introducing our chief guest. Now we request our chief guest to kindly deliver the inaugural address.
Respected Sri Venugopal C. Govind, Chairman Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Sri Bibu Punuran, President KMA, Dr. Anil Joseph, Honorary Secretary of KMA, all the office bearers of KMA, the distinguished guests on and off the dais, all the lovely ladies and gentlemen who are present here, a warm good evening to each one of you and namaste. At the outset, I thank KMA for, allowing me to be present among such eminent personalities this evening. And I thank Mr. Balakrishnan sir. We are friends through a common friend. Actually, we had not met each other before, to this event, but we have spoken to each other many times. And I thank Balakrishnan and the entire KMA, the present and the past committees and all those present, to giving me this opportunity to be among such eminent personalities this evening. Thank you all so much. As I understand, KMA has got as rich a history as the state of Kerala. I think KMA was formed in March 1957, maybe a few months after the state of Kerala was born. Am I correct, sir? And from a humble beginning, as was mentioned in the inaugural speech, with the then administrative office of Cochin Port as its president, today I see it's grown in a big way, bringing together the corporate, the government, the business heads and the doyens of the industry. And I take this opportunity to congratulate all the past and the present leadership of the KMA and all the members of KMA for this vibrant growth and their contribution. Now, I'm not going to speak anything majorly on what you should do as a manager or, some jargons about it. No. I will share certain experiences of mine. Perhaps certain things which worked, certain things did not work. So maybe that could be a tip for some of the practicing managers today or who would like to practice in the future. I will touch upon management in the service, management of people under the Factories Act. Most of my career in the Indian Navy, I was handling personnel who were governed by the Factories Act. That means it is an industrial thing where the uniform people come and go, but the core remains, the work being done by the civilian workforce under the Factories Act. Management of scientists, where I totally failed, and then managing the Israeli and the Russians. These are the few aspects I would like to touch upon. Starting with the service. See, service, you have a very young profile. You're handling somewhere, average age profile of your workforce. Uniform workforce is about 27, 28, sometimes maximum 30. It's a very structured function. You've got almost all rules, regulations written down. But the moment you take over the managerial role, because you come for 2 or 3 years at most, and then the subordinates are there for much longer period than you, and he or she is more vertically specialized, they test you for some time. They try to see what is your professional competence before they start delivering. So what I learned is that you've got to be absolutely a professional if you have to earn their respect. Not only be a professional, you got to be transparent and you got to be fair. If these things you have, I think 85% or 90% of the people follow you as a manager or a leader. There are this 10 to 15% aberrations, but these 10 to 15% aberrations, although services have got, very laid down rules and regulations, how to handle them, how to apply the stick, and stick normally works, barring about 2 to 3%, which you can typically handle. But the bottom line is professional competence and transparency has to be at its at its, best. No compromise on professional competence. So that part of the management, I found it, quite simple. Somewhere about 14th year of my service, I was tasked to head the weapon repair facility in the Naval Dockyard, Mumbai. Now, Naval Dockyard, Mumbai is a unit under the Factories Act. You have got about those days about 8 to 9,000 people who are, fitters. Then you have HSK, you've got foremen, you've got technical assistant, and so and so. I was heading the weapon repair facility, which had about 1,000 people those days, and each of them are trained vertically specialists. You have fitters of electrical, electronics, computer science, what have you, and totally under the Factories Act. Now, till I joined this place, I was a very short-tempered person. Now, my well-wishers told me, your short temper and the speed at which you are working in the uniform may not work here. So I was prepared. I went there and absolutely calm, controlled my temper. And when I joined that place, I found there are a large number of workshops, 10, 12 workshops, one dealing with radar, one dealing with missile systems, one dealing with sonars and so on and so forth, some with communication systems, and each trained people are there. Every morning, the center managers would come and meet me and brief me on, sir, we are going to do this on this submarine, this ship, this, or we are going to repair this. And they will give me certain timelines. And 1 month I observed, 1.5 months, but I found none of the timelines were being met. And, when the timelines are not met, the ships and submarines, it's very, very stringent and tight timelines they have to go. And then I found, my calmness is really not going to work out. So we need to find methods. So I started spending more time in the shop floor, more time in the ships, more time in the submarine where my people are working. And even in the night, when there are some critical jobs, I used to go back home and come back at 9 and spend time with them till morning. I used to have coffee with them, tea with them. I used to have my meals with them. I started listening to them more and more listening. I wasn't talking, I was listening more and more to them. And believe you me, within about 4 to 5 months, the whole atmosphere changed. The workforce delivered at more speed than what I would have expected. And I was lucky I had about a 7.5 year continuous stint in that place. And what I learned about management and what they taught me was something amazing. Before that, I've got to say something. This place, what happened was, in Maharashtra those days, the pan chewing was at its peak. So, you would spit at every corner, every lift corners, the toilets, the walls. So I found that also not to my liking. The restrooms were not so good, and most of the people travel quite a bit. In Bombay, you see, the average travel time for a person up and down used to be 3 to 4 hours. So you got to understand their psyche, what they're doing. So I started improving their work places, their toilets and restrooms, etc. And soon I found, they treated me like something totally different. They would invite me home for their children's wedding. They would invite me home for their, betrothal ceremonies, naming ceremony, and I would go. It's a Sunday, Saturday, there's time, I would go. And today, if I have the best of friends in my life, it is these workmen, all those who are alive. Even today, they, communicate with me for anything. And if I land in Bombay, there are at least 10 of them at the airport. So that is one I learned. And what they've taught me is patient listening, not to hurry up with things. Do it correctly, first time itself, and you will meet the timelines. Do your job correctly. Be with the workforce, eat, learn, play with them, but no compromise on your professionalism. Reward those who do their work correctly. And that's all I need to do, and rest of my time in that place was an amazing journey of learning and learning. And what I learned here is, and I would also say the culture of spitting changed. In about 2 years, it took 2 years, but the culture of spitting also, changed once you are with them. And the amazing, I still respect and I salute the amazing spirit of the workforce of India, which I learned from them. You can never beat an Indian workforce, which I'll come to you subsequently. Now, what I learned from these people helped me considerably later in my life when I was, I became a Rear Admiral and I was heading the Naval Dockyard Visakhapatnam. Now, Naval Dockyard Visakhapatnam is our biggest, same Factories Act, and you had about 6,000 odd people, and your job is to, look after the entire fleet of the Eastern Fleet. And I started the same principle. I started moving around as an admiral, and I used to go have lunch with them, sit with them. Late evenings, I will go speak to them, and they were producing wonderful results, which I'll come to subsequently. This was the period 19, 20, 21. Now suddenly, within 6 months, the COVID stuck. There was a total lockdown. I think March 26th was a lockdown. Believe you me, we had a submarine, that too a nuclear submarine on the dry dock, and we could not keep her for indefinitely. We had to take her out because it had some other repercussions. We had a good rapport, not only me, my team had a good rapport. We spoke to the unions, we spoke to the senior people. Believe you me, on the 28th of March, with peak lockdown, 180 workforce came and stayed inside the yard for 3 days. We gave food, we dined with them, they undocked the submarine. And that's the quality of our workforce. Now, subsequently, I think 3 months down the line, it started opening up. Slowly government started opening up, people are allowed to come into work. Now this is where, when such a challenge comes, what kind of management do you do? So we decided, okay, let's not have strict policy of 8 to 4 and 8 to 5 and all that. Let's have an open gate policy. Let the managers decide who should come, how many people should come, so that there is no overcrowding in your place. If a guy is required only for 3 hours, let him come only for 3 hours. If a guy is required late in the evening, let him come only that time. Or, when I meant a person, it could be a lady or a gentleman. And, by following all the protocols, these people were so thrilled about this, that year, despite COVID, we did as many or maybe more ships and submarines came out of its repairs, and for that we were awarded, by the highest authority in the Indian Navy. Not only did this workforce do that, the Andhra Pradesh government had a lot of problems with their oxygen plants. With such kind of an environment, they themselves came up to say, sir, we will travel to different parts of Andhra Pradesh, help the state government. Even today, you Google and see Naval Dockyard Visakhapatnam repaired some 12 oxygen plants of major capacity. During that COVID, when people would not move, they went and repaired those oxygen plants and helped the government of Tamil Nadu audit all their government hospitals' oxygen supply plants. So that's the quality of an Indian workforce. And I personally feel if you are with them, they do wonders. Now, that was as part of the, people who govern under the Factories Act. I had a stint also to manage certain scientists who work in the scientific field, who do research and development and produce certain products for the Indian Navy. First and foremost, the scientist knows the subject more than you, because they are working through and through with that subject. you can't, go there and think that you know better than him. He's very passionate and often secretive about the job. Very, very passionate, often secretive. He may not share many technical details and difficult to penetrate that wall. And another thing with scientists is that they often feel if a technology is taken to 80%, 70 to 80%, their job is done. Not realizing that you need 100% working product. So it was a challenge. Neither my tactics of, patience or giving my this thing to work with them or nothing could work in this scenario. And I would say I was a big failure in this field, but slowly I learned it's better to manage a scientist by leaving him alone. Let him work, just encourage him, give him what he needs at an appropriate time. I'm sorry if any scientists are there, I'm not saying the correct things, but this is what my experience was. And somehow make him or her take it to 70% of realization. Then you force the issue to take it for trials. And the trials phase, you are more master than him because you know what is required. So there, the rapport builds up and then you don't have to really manage. Then they start performing. This was my experience with scientists. In my career in the Navy, I was fortunate to have long associations with, procurement and installation of systems both from Russia and Israel. And progressively, I was the member secretary and the working group chairman of certain committees for major radars and missile systems. Working with these foreign partners was a different challenge. Israel was very, very enjoyable because you engage them technically. There are people who have got system level knowledge. They are open, frank, fair. They will meet the timelines barring, plus minus 15 to 20%. Otherwise, they are on the dot. They're open to suggestions. They are willing to take you to their premise, sit with them, and even, do some work with them. Very, very open, and it was very easy to see them work, and the kind of knowledge, fundamental knowledge, what the Israelis possess was amazing to see, and their management is all about allowing the professionals to deliver, interact, and the management facilitates everything for them to work. So it is a pleasure watching the Israelis work, whether it was Israeli aerospace industries to Rafael to Elbit. They were a different league. If you talk about managing Russians, because we were buying a lot of stuff from Russia, in Russia it's the opposite. You don't have access to the guy who is working. You have so many layers of in between that you will never come to a discussion technical in the factory. Some of the factories, they will not allow you to visit also. Though you have a 1,000 crore order with them, they will make you stand outside or in the coffee shop or, they will not allow. I'm told things are changing, but my experience of many times with them was, if you have to discuss on a topic, let's say this mic, from our side there will be 2 or 3 people, from their side there will be 40 people. One guy will be expert on the sensor, one guy will be on this bush, somebody on this expert, and nobody will know nobody will talk to you about the entire system in its entirety. So that's the way they function. Pricing, not at all, I found them not transparent on it, because you are not able to get to the lowest person. But one thing I learned from them is, even if they know English, they will use an interpreter to talk to you. And I learned it that this gives them some time to think while you are answer. So they get time to think to answer. That is a good technique, I thought, what they were thing. And they have a very authoritarian style of functioning and very limited channels of communication. Across the board, like Indians, I found they don't communicate. Anyway, better than me to speak on Russian is we have our Indian Naval Attaché to Russia is amongst us, Vice Admiral retired MP Muralidharan sir. He, I'm sure, will agree with me whatever I'm saying is, facts. Or I interacted with Russians from 2006 to my last assignment. So the end of it, what I wanted to say was that, no one method of management, in my opinion, works at every time. You got to adapt yourself, change yourself, otherwise you will never succeed. But personally, I feel knowing your subject thoroughly, whatever be the field, is the most important. If you're a professional, others will respect you. Across the level communication, it's not about hierarchical communication. It is cross communication is the most efficient method if you want results. Every level you need to communicate, and your vision should be understood by the junior most person. Then only I think your team can achieve. Engaging the team professionally is important. What I observed is that 90% of the people don't want to come to office and sit idle. They don't want to. So you got to engage them to ensure you get the best. If we engage, the results will automatically come. We talk about the 80-20 syndrome. Okay, it's there, but a manager's job, I would say, is to make the 80-20 to 60-40 or 50-50 or whichever. That if you can raise from 80-20 to anything different, 70-30 to 60-40, I think most of the job is done. Need to be a patient listener, I think. You need to listen to the problem rather than suggesting a solution even before you have understood the problem. Fair practices, transparency in whatever you do is a key, because people read through you in the shortest time. And last, which I always say, is have food, play with your team, and they will solve your problems. You don't have to worry about it, because they will solve your problems. You will never be, left with your own problems. And having said that, I want to submit that, though I have spent only little time in Keltron, it's just about 3 months. I retired superannuated last year, and suddenly this offer came, and I thought let me work with Keltron. I've been working with Keltron from the Navy for some of our projects, so I took this assignment. And having seen Keltron's workforce for about 3 months and the industrial workforce in the Indian Navy I've seen, let me tell you, our workforce is as good or better than anybody in the world. We need to really salute them. The kind of innovation and ingenuity they can come up with, the speed at which they can execute, it's amazing. And I felt it most of my career in the Indian Navy, and I salute these people, and the kind of work they do is phenomenal. Thank you all for a patient listening, and I wish KMA, the Kerala Management Association, and the new leadership the very, very best. Being a person in uniform, in the end, I have to say a few things about the service that I was in for 36 years. Our Navy is one of the finest in the world. It's not just because of the good technologies we use, it's because of the men and women who man it. Let me put it this way, they are our men and women, dare to go where nobody else would go. And that's our strength. And with that, thank you all so much. Jai Hind.
Bibu Punuran, distinguished guests on the dais, and my dear KMA family. Namaskaram. I belong to Kuttipuram, part of Malappuram district. In Malabar, we have a cherished tradition. Regardless of religious or political affiliation, the people of Malabar invite the respected Supremo of Indian Union Muslim League, Panakkad Shihab Ali Tangal, to all their auspicious inaugural events. Whether it is inauguration of a business or a shop or even a housewarming, Tangal's presence is seen as a lucky omen, bringing blessings and benevolence. Today, we are truly blessed to have in our midst a man who personifies the virtues of goodness, wisdom, and integrity. Like Tangal, his presence at every corporate event is a testament to his ability to bring a touch of grace and dignity. I have had the privilege of witnessing this on numerous occasions. Today, Kerala Management Association is truly honored to have Mr. Venugopal C. Govind grace our event with his sage presence. While Mr. Venugopal C. Govind, fondly known as VCG, needs no introduction to this audience, allow me to share his accomplished and unique profile formally. Mr. Venugopal C. Govind is a distinguished and highly respected chartered accountant and the former managing partner of Varma and Varma. He has served on the boards of several prominent public and private sector companies and has been an advisor to numerous organizations in South India. He is a chairman of the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan group of institutions and serves on the boards of governors and academic councils of various educational institutions. He has also held positions as chairman or president of various trade bodies and chambers of commerce. His contribution to industry, finance, taxation, and economic development in Kerala is profoundly significant. VCG is also one of the most respected past district governors of Rotary International, an exceptional orator, and an epitome of dignified conduct and humility in the public domain. He was a recipient of the prestigious KMA Millennium Management Leadership Award, a highly esteemed recognition in the field of management. It's my pleasure and honor to introduce and welcome Mr. Venugopal C. Govind. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dilip, for introducing our guest of honor. I request Mr. Venugopal C. Govind to deliver the keynote address.
Good evening to all of you. Honored President Bibu Punura, Vice President Sreekumar, LGS Khalid, Anil Joseph, Past President Balakrishnan, all respected senior past presidents of KMA, doyens from the field of education, Meena Vishwanathan, Maya Mohan, Radha Tevanur, and all distinguished members of KMA. It's indeed a great honor and pleasure for me to be with you all on an exceedingly fine evening like this. Dr. Sri Vice Admiral Sreekumar Nair, our distinguished chief guest of the day, has delivered an extremely meaningful, objective, purposeful address on the general management scenario in India as a whole, covering various segments, dealing with people, dealing with scientists, dealing with workmen, dealing with colleagues, dealing with the industrial workforce and all that. I'm sure it has been extremely useful and knowledgeable for all of us. Thank you, Sreekumar Nair, for your profoundly worthy address that you have delivered. Kerala Management Association today is a towering big banyan tree. It's amazing that in this period of time, Kerala Management Association has grown to the level that it has over the years. I could say from experience with several trade industry professional bodies association in Cochin, including Chambers of Commerce, that easily Kerala Management Association is the best, most professionally well-run trade association in this part of the world. Our accomplishments over the decades also have been phenomenal, undoubtedly. The most important point that I see now today is that Kerala Management Association has touched practically every major industry, business, trade organization, and also educational, charitable, and other non-profit organizations in a very significant way. KMA, through various programs, projects, activities, and all, have brought in a revolution in the management thinking, management education, planning from the management side, execution of programs, projects, and taking the whole industry, business, and all to much higher levels of growth. If Kerala, in terms of business and industry, is what it is today, I would say a substantial part of the credit should go to the Management Association, Kerala Management Association, all its members, undoubtedly. If you look back at how it was born, 1957 as was referred to, see, there was a time there was no management at all in Kerala. There were no management well-trained professionals who knew the nuances, techniques of management, basic aspects of management. They were industrialists. Sheshasai had established large number of industries. And some of the government sectors like FSCT were all there, but people who are trained in management, modern aspects of management, were absolutely lagging. It was at that point of time, as I could see, the KMA was formed in 1957. Unfortunately, it could not go a long way in the first few years because of various factors. We had the communist ministry taking over and so many other problems. Maybe a period of 8 or 10 years later, when MKK Nair came to FSCT as the chairman and managing director, as you know, he found that Kerala had immense potential for industrial growth, for the development of business industry as a whole, and also the traditional industries and export-oriented industries and all. And he felt that management has to take roots in Kerala. If industries have to flourish, management education, management training, management development was essential. He organized 2 institutions at that point of time. One was School of Management Studies, which was set up by FSCT in FSCT's own compound, and all faculty members are all as decided by FSCT chairman, and it was given the responsibility of initiating management education and to teach young managers what management was all about. Alongside with that, Kerala Management Association also he regenerated. It was almost in deep slumber. I remember still the first meeting he had in FSCT when he had called some of us there. Paul Pothan, who was the general manager, Paili was there, Dr. BVD Menon was there, a good friend of MKK who was staying very close to, on the road to FSCT. He was there, Ravi Karunagaran, A.K. Kadargutti, the doyen of industry, who was in Olapattanam, Kannanur, and people like S.K. Warrior, George Stephanos, Kannappan of Travancore Rayons, those who were all leading managers available at that time. And he said, this is an organization, it was then called Kerala Institute of Management or something, that's got to be revived. We have to work on that. I see a great future for that. Nothing could stop him from that. Several programs were organized, specifically addressing the needs of each industry. Some of us were asked to run programs jointly under the auspices of Kerala Management Association and the School of Management Studies in various aspects of functional management, marketing management, finance management, HR management, operational management. Those days with LED presentations and all, we used to go to several industries. He will tell us, you go to aluminum industries, you go to Travancore plywood industries, you go to Travancore titanium industries, you go to FIT, you go here, several programs we used to run on a regular basis. And then the idea of management caught up with both the institutions working hand in hand. There was no stopping of that. By the time he left 70, a revolution was brought in the field of, industrialization. 66, 67 to 70, 72 period when MKK was there, I would say it was the golden period of Indian industry. Many, many large industries were set up under his supervision, under his guidance. Industries, of course, FACT had the Udyog Mandal plant, they had the FEDO started, Fuse started, fact engineering work started, and industries like Premier Tires, Premier Cables, Majura Coat Industries revived, Travancore Rayons revived, Toshiba and the Lamps, Toshiba and Batteries, Southern Gas Limited, Bhavan Lorry, Cochin Refineries, Cochin Shipyard, several industries got, stimulus under his overall guidance and all that. And he used to guide everyone, anyone and everyone, even people like TPG Nambiar I've seen many times visiting him in connection with the setting up of the BPL plant in Palgad. He gave the leadership for in management education, management training, management development in Kerala. That was absolutely fantastic. We got to pay our homage for his memory. Unfortunately, 71-72, he had to move to Delhi. But then, by that time, Management Association had already established. Kerala School, a School of Management Studies was also established. Several people who came after that, who were all trained by then in management, the idea caught up. And then there were continuing programs, mostly in-house programs those days. Specific needs of industry, Kerala State Productivity Council also came up. We had people like, he brought in a young engineer called Devarajan. He was followed by Sulaiman and, very senior people, both from industry, labor force and all joined. And Kerala State Productivity Council also started working with all the required energy and going forward, these three organizations together brought in all the required efficiency in management. But 71-72 onwards, Kerala had the worst period. Shani Desha, as we may call it, one industry after the other, started failing. Several of them, as I mentioned now, many of them disappeared. Premier Tires gone, Premier Cables gone, Southern Gas almost gone. Majura Coats weakened and disappearing, Travancore Rayons, almost getting lost, Toshiba and the Lamps gone, Toshiba and Batteries gone. Many organizations which came up in the 60s. It was brought in by people like A. Damodar Menon, V.V. Giri was the president, and under the leadership and efforts of MKK Nair, who all came up, they all started slowly waning away in the 70s and all that. 70s, 80s and all that, absolutely bad period. KMA concentrated more on consolidation at that period of time. Fortunately, KMA did not disappear. KMA started working on that. Their consolidation phase, the land was, the building was about to be started around 80s or so. By early 90s and all that, KMA building was completed. Cominco Binani had also come at that point of time. And again, under the invitation of MKK, catalysts and chemicals had come. Many such industries has come, Kerala Chemicals and Products had come. Veneers and laminations have come. So all those were, started during 60s, 70s and all that. We were finding it very hard to establish and stand on their own. But during this consolidation phase, I should say, Kerala Management Association played a significant role in organizing managers, giving them whatever training is possible. Different kinds of programs were organized. CEO forums were organized. Mentoring programs for children were organized. Management education for children were organized. Young managers, improvement programs were organized. Management leadership awards were introduced. Conventions, management conventions started. 80s or so, the first convention was held. Kerala Management Conventions used to be one among the best in the country. All India under the AMA, All India Management Association, their first conference was held in Kerala. So several such significant events were organized by KMA those point of time, and that kept them going on. Thereafter, by 90s or so, the growth again, the phase of growth restarted. Fortunately for Kerala, especially the public sector industries like Cochin Refineries, Cochin Shipyard, FACT, all started doing very well. FACT had its downfall a little later, but Cochin Refinery did exceeding well. And Cochin Shipyard, all the chairmen who came in charge of Cochin Shipyard, they also contributed their might, and Shipyard somehow survived. All these industries, mind you, had terrific controls from the government of India on those days. That managements did not have any authority to take decision. They were not allowed to compete in the open market, but still they all survived and the industries grew substantially well. But now what we see now is that the bad phase is over. Industries have started establishing now. Several industries are there today, fortunately, are world class. Cochin Refineries, Cochin Shipyard, FACT, the Director of Finance is there. They have turned around unimaginably. They have crossed 6,000 crores in turnover, more than 1,500 crores in terms of net profit, and there will be no going back. What FACT today perhaps is 3 or 4 times what it was during MKK's heydays. So what they cannot achieve, is beyond our comprehension. Refinery is also one of the most well-run refineries in India. Cochin Shipyard is also one among the best shipyards in the country. So we have many such good organizations. Apollo Tyres has come up as the best in the country in terms of productivity, in terms of tire production. And you see industries like V-Guard Industries and Kitex Industries and Synthite Industries. They have all come 3,000 crores, 4,000, 5,000 crores, unimaginable for Kerala's. Many non-banking finance industries have come up. Banks have also got established very well. Federal Bank is one of the finest, well-managed private sector industry bank in India today. South Indian Bank, Catholic Syrian Bank have all been reorganized. They are all, on the threshold of a fine takeoff. NBFCs like Muthoot Group and all that, one among the best in the country. Manappuram Finance is also doing extremely well. Their market capitalization are all the highest. They have a large number of well-trained professionals. Well, even traders also. Many traders have come up. They have gone out of their lethargy. They knew how to do business. They have all started looking elsewhere at global operations also. So you have Kalyan Jewelers, you have Kalyan Silks, you have Joy Alucas. They are all, world-class firms with 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 MP Ahmed's Malabar Gold and all that. So if you look at the Kerala business industry scenario, Kerala is in all respect very rich, well-established and on the growth track. And more interestingly, in the IT sector, software, back office operations, new advancing technology, sunrise industries and all that, we have used. Look at Kakinad, what it is now, unimaginable. What was Kakinad 10, 15 years ago? Jadjimukka and Bharatya College and nothing, all forest, all plain, nothing in Kakinad. Today, hundreds of thousands of units have come up. Several young dynamic engineers are there. TCS is there, Wipro is there, Infosys is there. Who is not there? And that's a world by itself. Education institutions has also come up. In 1957, for example, we did not have a single management institute here. The first management institution, MBA, was itself a Kerala School of Management Studies, later taken over by Cochin University of Science and Technology with Dr. M.V. Paili as the first director in charge of the School of Management Studies. And again, as insisted upon by MKK Nair, we were all visiting professors. S.K. Warrior, George Stephanos, all of us used to go from our office and, take evening classes also. I must also say that somewhere in the middle 60s or so, MKK found out that, somehow though management education, management development training are all getting started, it is not on the right lines. So he again called us around 65, 66 or so. So this is not, you are all going there and taking some classes and you are taking sessions and all that. This is nothing to do. This is not quality management. So he said he selected 8, 9 of us. He said, all of you go to Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta. That is the only IIM we had at that point of time. You fellows, you go there and you get yourself trained in modern management techniques and all that. You will know what management is all about. Your exposure will be so much and your horizon will enlarge. If you go to IIM, KT Chandi, the first director of IIM Calcutta, is my best friend. I will arrange with you. Are you all prepared? We all said, okay, sir, we will go. All right, in 3 months you must all go, I will give you. None of us went. Before we ran away from there, who has the time to go there? He wants us to, for executive development program for 5 weeks, 6 weeks in Calcutta. No one was in a position. He called us again. He didn't forget, he called us again. Around 67 end or 67 early, he called us again and said, I wanted all of you to go. Not even one is go. This is not correct. If Muhammad cannot go to mountain, I will get mountain to you. We didn't understand what it is. You go back, I will let you know. In 10 days, he said, I have arranged a 5 weeks residential program for you at Udyog Mandal guest house to be run by KT Chandi and the top leading professors of IIM who are going to come here and stay with you for 5 weeks. He could do that. Professor KT Chandi came, I met him for the first time then, along with Dr. Srivastava, Dr. Banerjee, Dr. Raman, Mrs. Chatterjee, all leading professors at that time of IIM, and they took us from morning to evening, breakfast onwards, classes and all that, 5 weeks. It changed. We knew then, see what management education is all about. So this could, it could help us later on when we joined the School of Management Studies as visiting professors. But today, you have at least 30, 40, more than that. Dr. Radha Tevenur must be able to tell us. She is running one of the finest management institutions. GPC Nair were all our students at that point of time. GPC Nair, AKK Nair, or AK Nair, so many, the leading, managing directors who have come out, they were all, initially they were all there at the School of Management Studies and trained, and they have all been doyens in industry, later. Today, I should say there are at least 30, 40 management B schools here. But all said and done, we have reached a stage where we can be very proud of what we have achieved so far in terms of educating young, inspiring young management graduates, giving them the right kind of training, requesting them to join us for various programs, giving training, constant training program from young professional managers. You have the theme today, empowering young managers. Many things are being done, giving also in-house training for various professional managers, inviting some of the finest management professionals, leaders, business industrialists and all from all over the country to address you in several programs, one after the other. This time I found that he has sent me, LGS has sent me the program. So the next 2 months, all the programs have been lined up for the next 1 year as a whole. From May to April 25, various programs under subjects, topics and all have been designed. That kind of a competence has been developed by Management Association to reach out to all classes of industry business who are in need. But still, if you look at the scenario, what I find is that there is total substantial deficit in terms of management competence and management capabilities. This is not exactly what Kerala can achieve. Most of our industries still lack very well trained, highly professionally competent managers at all the levels. We find that when we conduct interviews, for directors, managing directors or executive directors, director of finance, general managers, functional managers and all that, hardly you can come up, with any suitably competent trained managers from amongst the Kerala folks. So we have got to concentrate more. Perhaps we have got to go back to the old methodologies, reaching out the industries, functionally take up and running very comprehensive program, not 1 day, 2 day and all that, to totally enhance their management competence and levels of efficiency and management and all that. So this has got to be done. Similarly, we have got to work very hard on the B schools. The standards of B schools are nowhere near acceptable levels. I can say that. I am on the board of at least 4 or 5 B schools. I could say that. There are IIMs, top class. We are nowhere near any of the IIMs. There are institutions in the private sector. We have management B schools like SPJN Institute of Management and Research. We have got Jindal Management Schools. We got Jamanlal Management. We got several such top symbiosis. They are all top leading management development institute of the IFCI, International Management Institute in Bombay. They are some of the top ranking B schools in the country. We are nowhere near that. So we have got to enhance the quality of management education. Also, perhaps they themselves, education institutions, may not be able to do that by themselves. Perhaps organizations like KMA could give them the much needed support to enhance the quality of the delivery of the management education they could do. And thirdly and more significantly, perhaps running programs, speaker session, meetings and all may be good. But we have got to bring experience, practical experience has to be brought in. So workshops, hands-on training workshops may have got to be also organized. Maybe you have to think, I think you have got a very highly competent committee. I say, see, what more you can have, 13, 14 of them I saw today being introduced as the new managing committee members, gems from the business and industry as they are. But you have got to work out and see how we can. Kerala is going down. We are nowhere near acceptable standards. You compare with Chennai, you compare with Bangalore, Chennai with Hyderabad. Don't have to compare with Calcutta, Bombay or anything, but still Kerala is lagging behind in terms of not only industrial growth, but all areas, agriculture, industry, trade, business and all that. Kerala can certainly grow much more. And Kerala management association has a very significant role to play. And we have to come up to that level and ensure that we have got the competence, we have got the people. Where can you get such a large crowd at an inauguration of a KMA function like that? So perhaps as you go forward and new dynamic, very talented, competent people are taking over the reins of this management association, I wish KMA all the very best. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for a wonderful exposition covering the industrial history of Kerala with specific emphasis on the role of KMA in spearheading the management movement and for all the inspiring words. Now, to offer felicitations, may we invite our immediate past president, A. Balakrishnan. Over to you, sir.
Respected, distinguished guests, and our President Vibhu Punuran, Secretary, MC members, past presidents, and dear KMA members. I will not spend a lot of time with you because you have already had wonderful discourse on management. So let me also inform you that Sreekumar Nair was instrumental in bringing Chief of Naval Staff for the MLA award. He was a friend of KMA at that time. And there, another important information, I don't know whether I can disclose. He studied in a village called Kannadi. He's from Alapi, from the same place. We all, Vibhu Punuran, myself, and our guest. And the school he studied, he completely taken over, renovated, and running in a fantastic levels. So he is also doing many things to the society. And thank you, sir, for coming over here. Now we are talking about youth at level next. I am not sure which level we are talking about because already they are at a very high level. Let me also tell you that while coming for interview, they were talking about determination, hard work, 24/7 availability and all. At the time of appraisal, they are talking about work-life balance and so many other things. This is actually an interesting time with the youth. When Sreekumar arrived over here, they have seen so many people over here. He was expecting that the lot of youths here. He also mentioned that except our president and the secretary, most of them are very old. So we have the KMA with the young dynamic president and secretary. We are expecting a lot from you. And today it is challenging times for managers, whether you are young or middle level or yet to retire or something. One reason is rapid deployment of technology. Second is actually the expectation from the stakeholders are very high and very dynamic environment today. Therefore, managers' capability is actually always questioned. And a lot of opportunity in India, therefore attrition rate is very high. For example, the industry I work, average attrition rate is 30 to 35%. That means you recruit 100 people in the beginning of the year, end of the year you will only have 65%. This is also hold good for IT industry and many other, except for manufacturing. I think service industry is facing this. It is in fact, it is a good sign because of the opportunity and our economy is progressing. At the same time, talent attrition is actually a real challenge for any managers. You recruit, you train, and then you deploy. By that time, your attrition starts. I think this is one of the area we may have to train our young and middle managers, how to manage the team, how to motivate them, and how to reinforce them so that organization should run at the pace at which the stakeholders want. Another challenge is actually today, in my view, we all are actually offering work from home. Work from home, I'm not talking about the manufacturing, especially in services. Without that, many of them are not even ready to join. My IT friends may be knowing that, but even in service industries are actually offering work from home. Managers are actually normally in an environment, it is a collective work. So they really want to see their face. And their body language speaks more than the real communication. And the work from home created another challenge for managers. So that is actually remote management is a problem for many of the managers, especially at the middle level and also at the senior level. So, and the productivity, because we expect high level of productivity because people are deploying technology, which is a costly affair. And along with the people and technology, very high level of productivity expectation stakeholders have. That is actually unable to meet. I am also correlating this 70% scientists. Today, most of the managers, at least in service industries, are managing scientists. 70% work done, and they are expecting that remaining will happen. So that is another challenge for a manager. So I am sure that the new team will help our organizations to create wonderful managers, great managers for the progress of the industry. Without that, it will not happen. The way in which we need to grow is actually very, very high level of expectation for the state and all industries. We all are growing. Many of the industries are growing not because of the output from Kerala. It is actually from other part of this country. In our case also it is not. We had been focused in Kerala. Now we are focusing outside Kerala. Another reason is our youth is actually going away from the state. They are migrating. Right from the 12th standard onwards, they are migrating. They are higher education. They are going to Europe, and very difficult to bring them back with the current ecosystem. So these are all challenges for the organization as well as for managers. And I hope the initiative which we take will help organizations to grow and with a sustainable number of people and managers. And I thank you very much for this opportunity and wishing our team all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Balakrishnan, for felicitating the new team. As we come towards the end of today's program, I invite our secretary, Mr. Anil Joseph, to deliver a vote of gratitude.
Very good evening, all of you. So, respected Chief Guest, Vice Admiral Sreekumar Nair, Managing Director Keltron, and our beloved leader of the Kochi city and the visionary Mr. Venugopal Govind, Chairman Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, the President Bhavan who had taken the charge, our immediate past President who was handed over, ABK, the fellow managing committee members, past presidents, the jam-packed hall of the KMA members, as well as the family and other friends who has joined us today evening. It's a great pleasure for me to give this first debutant vote of thanks as the Secretary of the Kerala Management Association. Let me start with a quote by Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. Once again, I quote, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. So the Kerala Management Association has got a task
to bring change to the society. We have heard our chief guest as well as the keynote speaker delivering and highlighting the importance of management. Yes, a few people can make a difference and that need to be done. The chief guest in his address has highlighted the importance of how the management skill was developed and the power of teamwork, the team building and networking matters to deliver the results. The delegation and the importance of doing it right at the first time was highlighted. And also he shared the experience with his working with the Israeli team as well as the Russian team. Thank you very much for giving the valuable thoughts and sharing this experience with us. May I request the MC to hand over a memento to our president to be given to our chief guest. And our leader, Venugopal Govind, took us through the entire journey of the Kerala Management Association, right from its formation in 1957, and how the industry changed in the scenario during his 20 minutes of address to us. It was a real opener, like watching the movie, how it started, how it evolved, how it transformed, and most importantly, the challenges which we have to face in the new era. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for that wonderful wisdom of knowledge shared. And we know we have to cover a lot to make the difference. And like I told, few people can bring the changes what we believe in. We had a strong support, a powerful association was handed over to us by ABK. Thank you very much for your valuable words of wisdom and the guidance to take it forward. I would also thank Sreekumar, the Senior Vice President. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And Algiers Khalid, the Vice President. And look at the planning he has done, the meticulous planning, the 55 program which is started right from the day and already identified the speakers. And the man who did the show, Bibhu Punuran, the man who is the visionary and who is going to guide us. And look at the theme he has found out. Youth at Level Nest, empowering young managers. And he came with the theme that it's young mind. Even though we look little old, our chief guest, but we are all young minds which is present over there. Let's have a big round of applause for the young minds presenting here. Let me also thank our Joint Secretary Anil Varma for introducing the chief guest, and Dilip Narayan, Treasurer. Dilip, please. Yeah, for introducing Venugopal Govind. Let me take this opportunity to call upon President to hand over a memento to Venugopal Govind for that excellent communication. And it's a great pleasure to have you. And the blessing, like Dilip told, his presence is a good omen, and anything to start, he is the one who is going to make the difference. Let me take this opportunity to thank all the MC members. The list is quite large, but we have a powerhouse which is going to make the change. So that will definitely happen. Thank all the MCs for there. And we have the guidance from our eminent past presidents who is sitting in front of us, and few of them in the team, and lot of advices to be get. Kindly guide us as we move forward to bring a change in this Kerala Management Association can make a difference to the society. And also I would like to thank the team of the MC, Aradi Varma, the head who is going to head the Young Minds, and Jacob who did an excellent job there, and our own young past president, Vivek Krishna Govind. So excellent job done. Thank you MC and team for that. Also I would like to thank our staff from KMA under the leadership of Prajit, and from the Sagardiya College, Sagardiya Institute of Management Studies, the internship people who was with us and who has done a great work for taking the KMA forward. I would also like to thank each and every one of you who are assembled here to make this evening a grand success. The journey has just begun. but a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. We are sure that we are in the right direction, and in the next year, like our president or like my president pointed out, we are sure that we are going to take the Kerala Management Association to a notch level higher up, and there is a lot of scope for improvement. And together, the Kerala Management Association won't be limited to management, and the raising the standard of the society will be our main criteria. And if we don't involve in the activity to raise it up, it doesn't happen. So together, let us make a difference. Thank you each and everyone for joining us today, and let us have the networking and the dinner immediately following this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Anil Joseph, for the words of gratitude. Now I request all to kindly rise for the national anthem.
Janagana mana adhinayaka jaya he Bharat bhagya vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravida Utkala Vanga Vindhya Himachala Yamuna Ganga Uchala Jaladhi Taranga तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे